7,000 RPM! This is a 2013 Maruti Suzuki Alto, but this is not your regular Alto because a lot of updates have been done to this car. In fact, the updates cost almost the price of this car. That is the kind of updates this car has. This has been updated from a 2013 to a 2018 Alto. So yes, the front end has been revised. This car comes courtesy of Anmol Desai to me, and I'm really happy to tell you that these buttons are not of turning on and off the vehicle because obviously there's no keyless entry. It's for something really unique you can't even guess. Straight away, let's open the engine bay and let me show you that the engine is stock, of course. There's no insulation here. However, it has got some modifications to make it faster. Let's listen to it. The sound of a Japanese engine redlining. Wow, even if it's 3 cylinders, it still sounds very soothing. The light gets new bulbs here. I think this has been tinted a bit, in-house work. Obviously, the Suzuki logo is finished in black. This is sort of a carbon fiber finish on the Suzuki logo, which reduces the weight of the car by 0.00001 grams. Fog lights, which change color every time you turn on and off the fog lights. And the wheels, well, they are different here because these are actually coming from the Swift. Yes, the alloy wheels are coming from the Swift. Golden finish here, but the tires are different because it is running on 185/45/15s, really low profile tires from Ling Long. It says only bagged. What does that even mean? It means that this car has got airbags, not the one on the inside, but on each of the wheels, which does some magic. This again is finished in sort of a carbon fiber finish. There was a dent here, so Band-Aid has been put, the Instagram account of the person who has lended me this car, and the roof is finished in black. There's no antenna here. So what exactly does this do? Well, if I press these buttons, 2 of these buttons here, notice one thing, the car is dropping down. Yes, this guy's got air freaking suspension. Isn't that crazy? It drops down faster at the front because it obviously has a heavy engine to aid with the help of gravity. It drops down really fast at the front. But with a touch of a button, you can increase the ride height of this car. This air suspension is super duper cool. Look at that. Mind blown. Truly mind blowing stuff here. So to enable this, a lot of money obviously goes around rupees 1.6 lakhs, which is absolutely crazy. There it is dropping. Another rear, what has happened? Well, there's this sticker known as bagged because of the airbags for the air suspension. There's no rear wiper washer. Suzuki logo again having this sort of carbon fiber finish. These lights have been changed a bit, customized obviously. There's a camera here. Yes, there's a reverse parking camera. In order to open the boot, I have to actually open it from here. I'm so stupid, I keep forgetting the basics of how to operate a Maruti Alto, even though it is one of my favorite cars because this car has put so many people into automobiles, into driving. That is actually the canister for the air suspension. The air suspension is filling air right now. It says ADBC, anyone can dance, so anyone can raise itself with the air suspension. So this is the mechanism of the air suspension. It says Cadbury, I don't know why, but yes, the compressor has to fill and then only the air suspension works. You can have a bigger compressor or 2 compressors to make it much faster in terms of raising and dropping the ride height. However, this car is light, it doesn't really need that. Let's get into the rear where there's absolutely no space. Yes, an Alto is not very spacious. Center passenger does not get a head. No passenger gets a head because this headrest is kind of useless here. No door pockets at the rear either. Manual adjust for the windows as well. Meanwhile, here you get a meter which tells you the pressure of what? The air suspensions, airbags, and this person is just so happy today. No airbags, we die like real men. Air suspension is keeping quiet now. There's a proper cupboard here. That's actually a warehouse right there. It has aftermarket audio system, which actually sounds nice. You have the Audi logo, which is a bit different. It sort of looks like a dumbbell, but yes, the Audi logo improves the technology which this car is having. And it says slammed because this car is slammed all the way down. So a lot of changes have been done, and it has got tinted windows wherein it says the Predator. Because of the tints, this car is not really very legal and you can't really see anything on the inside. Seats are comfortable. The Alto is obviously very low down as such and also has a reverse parking camera. But where's the screen for the reverse parking camera? There is the screen. So let me get into reverse, and as soon as I do that, there you can see a display of the rear parking camera, which has got guidelines. The guidelines are not adaptive. What all has changed here? Not much. Again, this sort of carbon fiber treatment has been done here. They've removed the silver and they've put this sort of carbon fiber treatment here. This audio system, the head unit is a bit different. The air conditioning is surprisingly very effective here. It also has an aftermarket tachometer, which is quite nice because it has a shift light. Red lines at 7,000 RPM. because this cluster is very basic. You have a speedometer, fuel meter, and it has got twin trip meters and an odometer and a clock. That's about it. So not much is there inside. Their steering has a lot of slack as such. But in spite of this car having done 80,000 kilometers and being 12 years old, the plastic sheet hasn't been removed from the visors yet, which is super duper cool. But all the money has gone into this, the air suspension. You can also operate it from here. Yes, these are the buttons with which you can operate the air suspension from the inside. The horn, you can change it with the press of a button. Yeah, there's a button here. You can change the horn to something more manly. Yeah, that is nice. But how is it to drive? Because air suspension will affect the dynamics of this car. Now, is it better than, say, a Ferrari or a Red Bull Formula 1 car in terms of cornering? Let's find out. All right, let's turn on the car. And before we start moving, let me turn on the Valvetronic exhaust. Listen to the sound, okay? All of a sudden the sound becomes a bit more vocal here. So yes, the Valvetronic exhaust obviously makes things a bit louder. Central locking door, auto lock. If you notice now that tachometer does some drama as well, and off we go. To manually adjust the mirrors, which is a bit difficult on that side because it's a bit far, but the cabin is narrow, so it's not really far. So Faisal, stop complaining about all that. The Alto is obviously a very light car, and that is one of the major reasons why it is so easy to drive as well. The weight is its advantage actually. The super duper lightweight of this car is humongously beneficial. The air suspension has been kept on a mid position right now, only so that I can actually not have to worry of the car getting bouncy over bad bumps, or in other words, scraping big potholes. But let's go. Okay, the Alto is not a very fast car. In fact, how fast is it? We should find out by launching it right away. And let me turn on the hazard lights. Okay, into first gear, revving the motor, traction control off, ESP off, torque assist off, torque vectoring off, all systems off, revving the motor, rev till 7,000 RPM, and off we go. Oh, gearbox is super duper slick, which is very surprising. That how slick this gearbox is. The steering doesn't have feel, and at higher speeds obviously it feels a bit too bouncy, and then over bad bumps actually the suspension is super duper soft. And I reached 100 kilometers per hour in almost 19 seconds. So actually the Alto does 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in around 16.5 seconds, maybe because of the age of the car. Some of the horses have fallen down. Shift light already blinking at around 3000 RPM. Now it's going to go red as I approach near the red line. I love the way JDM engines are, even though if this is a 3-cylinder, this is a 796cc 3-cylinder engine known as the FAT. It produces just 48 horsepower and 69 Newton meters of torque. What a number, Maruti Suzuki. In terms of performance, when they came up with this newer engine, updated engine in the 2013 Alto, it definitely felt better because smoother, more refined, better mid-range punch. Low end is also better in comparison because they had made changes to a lot of things into the engine. However, because it's a 3-cylinder, that inherent vibration cannot be taken away. Yes, this is a peppy car to drive, but it feels light. It feels very light, and because of the lightness now, it doesn't really inspire confidence. Yeah, there is no real confidence of driving this car at higher speeds, even though it will hit a top speed of 140 kilometers per hour, which is quite a lot for a car this light. But it is nimble, it is agile. The steering has a lot of slack in the center position, and it has got some modifications. A stock replacement performance filter from BMC, I think, and it has got a Valvetronic exhaust. It's a free flow exhaust because the exhaust pipe exits before the catalytic converter. That's about it. But the compressor in the rear and the air suspension mechanism and the airbags, not the ones on the inside, but the ones on the wheels, they obviously add a bit of weight to the car, and that's the reason why it's not very fast. It's a peppy car. It's not about driving this car pedal to the metal, because that's something which it doesn't really excel at. What it excels at is filtering through traffic. You come to a traffic jam, you can take a quick U-turn because it's so nimble and agile, and then I realized, why take a U-turn? I'll just stall the car in the middle of the road. That is so bad. And I stall the car again in the middle of the road. Wow, everyone is looking what is happening, and I stall the car once again. No, I didn't. Yeah! Cheers to not stalling the car twice because the clutch is a bit gone. Nice excuse, Faisal. Trust me, the clutch is actually gone. Feels very soggy. However, the gearbox is very slick shifting somehow, and then this ride is gone for a toss because the air suspension, not really. The air suspension is actually improving the ride quality. What has made the ride go for a toss is actually the bigger wheels with the lower profile tires, and that's the reason you can feel a lot on the inside. The Alto inherently has a very soft suspension because this is a very basic car, so it has a very basic suspension, basic tires. Every component is basic because it's all about the affordability, and in terms of affordability, this car absolutely excels. Let's go. The exhaust has actually made it less free revving, so it doesn't really take off as smoothly and as fast as you would expect. The engine is not as fast revving as such, but then again, for a 3-cylinder engine, it's amazing. But the Alto's lightweight is a real USP, and because of which it's able to go to places where other cars, more capable cars with a lot more hardware are struggling. Yes, lightweight is so important, and that is the reason why the Alto is loved by everyone, because of its efficiency, lightweight and capability in spite of just being a front-wheel drive car with 3 cylinders. This 796cc engine has been all over the place because it was used in the 800, in the Alto, and the Alto no longer gets it because it will not comply with emission norms. So Alto K10 is the only one which is available, which obviously has a bigger engine, not the 796cc, more power, a little bit more sophisticated. Yes, Alto has become a little bit more sophisticated. That's a little hard to believe, but that's what has exactly happened. Now, I realized one thing, that because of the exhaust, it sounds a bit sporty, definitely, but doesn't really feel faster as such. Probably it's also because of the age of the engine, but it's a Japanese engine. Even with 3 cylinders, it feels very refined and very smooth, and it's efficient to the sense that it will return somewhere between 14 to 20 kilometers per liter, again depending on your driving style. So he's not on a full free flow exhaust, because with a full free flow exhaust, obviously it's going to affect the efficiency as well. But this is not a very fast car. It's a car you can have fun with when you do such kind of mods, because it looks cool now. It has the party piece of the S suspension, and definitely in terms of city driving, it feels amazing because it's so nimble, light and agile as well. So that's something you will love about the Alto, and an Alto is an Alto purely because of the affordability in buying, maintaining and running it. In every aspect, this car is just so light on the pocket. Just like the weight of the car, it's also like lightweight on the pocket. We're going to take a quick U-turn from here, for which I don't have to take much effort because the car is so effortless to drive, and there we are done and dusted without taking a reverse. That is the kind of effortlessness with which you can drive this car, which is quite unbelievable. And I see a nice patch of road to try and do a 0 to 100 km per hour test, and it is the time. Hazard lights off, into first gear, and off we go. There, 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 17.6 seconds. Not bad. I've become faster here. Yeah, it's a fun car, but I only think that spending so much money on a car which itself doesn't cost that much money, does it make much sense? Because let's be honest, a 10-year Alto will now retail for what, around 1 lakh rupee or something of that sort. Spending 1.6 lakhs on the suspension is a bit too much, if I'm being honest. But then it brings the bragging rights, and mainly the suspension. The S suspension is all about bragging rights only, because real world usability is a bit questionable, because the suspension is so basic now that you can't put it on the highest position. When you do that, the car gets very bouncy. When you put it at the lowest position, then obviously the car starts bottoming out, especially if you have people on board, and then speed breakers become your nightmare there. Let me quickly downshift. So of course the Alto is a very basic car, but the beauty of the Alto is this is a car which has actually put so many Indians behind wheels, and that is one of the major reasons why I absolutely love this car. What an absolute beauty. If you like this video, make sure to give the thumbs up, that's the like button, and also subscribe to the channel. I will see you guys in the next video real soon. Let's slow down for these rumblers because of the low profile tires. Now I have to be a bit careful. Yeah, the AMG MRS alloy wheels on this car, they cannot be damaged. 3 cylinders kicked in, yo! What are you doing, Swift? Thankfully, now the ADAS did not kick in when the Swift was right in front of me. Wow. Something fell off.